Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the HERO LAIR Podcast. My name is Dan, and we are your meatheads. Mario, Josh, being Sean Sims beside me. Alright, guys. So, Star Wars, or Lucasfilm president, Kathleen Kennedy, she was speaking at some sort of Costco call, and I guess someone from the Hollywood Reporter kind of stumbled on it, but you know, you gotta have your ears everywhere, even on those Costco calls, right?
Costco's, yeah.
So she's talking about the role of the Star Wars episodes, the saga films that they're calling them. So she says, quote, "The saga films focus on the Skywalker Family saga. The stories follow a linear narrative that connects the previous 6 films. The Force Awakens follows Return of the Jedi and continues that generational story. The anthology films offer opportunities to explore fresh characters, new storylines, and a variety of genres inside the Star Wars universe." So when she's talking about anthology films, she's talking about like Rogue One that's coming out, like those offshoot kind of movies.
Yeah.
So if the episodes, the saga films, are
so exciting.
Generational Skywalker films, who are the next generation of Skywalkers? Who are Han and Leia's kid?
Yeah.
Does Luke have a kid?
Yeah. And I'm wondering then, I don't know if you guys have, like, there's that separate universe that doesn't really have a strong, like, tie to the Star Wars world.
Anymore,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they were very popularized, and that was what they went with. That was the storyline they went with I believe, Anakin Solo.
Yep.
And Jada Solo.
Yes, I remember that.
Right?
Yeah, twins.
Yeah. Right? And there were some really exceptional storylines in that vein. And that would be something really interesting. I mean, we do see like Han Solo's there.
Yeah.
You know, we know that Mark Hamill's going to be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
they're alive. They're in the story.
Right, exactly. And so, and we all know that in that continuum, you have Luke Skywalker, who starts up his own Jedi Academy. Now, not saying that's the case or what have you, but there's potential for that to occur, because that would be amazing. And it's been so, guys, how long have we waited for this? We love Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
We love Star Wars.
We're
okay,
a little over 2 months away. A little over 2 months away.
Now, all these prequels have been amazing. That's been great. Well, that's not true. They've been, you know, for the most part, enjoyable.
Yeah.
However,
Blasphemy!
Yeah.
Who are you?
Josh. Well, you know what I mean.
It's George Lucas.
Exile.
George Lucas in a mask.
Did you just give me Klingon Banished?
Klingon Exile. from Hero Lair. For Star Wars Episode 1.
I have to join. That's officially the geekiest shit that's ever happened.
We're all over 230 pounds, so we make this cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. Wow.
So, what the hell was I even saying now? Oh, yes.
Klingon Exile.
I can't speak from the beyond zone. Wait, let me finish. So, I mean, to be able to see that, we've all been seeing this prequel stuff. Yeah. How long have we all been waiting to be able to see what is beyond the door? Yeah. What happens after Return of the Jedi? This is fantastic.
The closest I've ever gotten to that was Nintendo 64 Rogue Squadron.
Yes.
It was after you beat the game, there was like that one level of like the future, like 7 years in the future, and that's the only thing I got from it. And I'm like, man,
I never got that far. I suck.
But listen, what's the black character's name in the new Star Wars?
Kylo Ren.
Is it Kylo? No,
that's
the guy from Attack the Block.
His name's Finn.
Finn, yeah.
I think Luke Skywalker likes the chocolate, and that might be his love child. He might be a Skywalker. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, you know what, guys?
For breaking down
brown sugar.
Hey.
Yep.
You know, Captain Kirk likes green girls.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well,
who knows? You mix some green.
Given what Finn's look like, Finn looks like with the nose and everything, it was probably a mix between a human and one of the hog aliens.
And everybody knows Lando Calrissian's...
Yes.
And everybody knows Lando Calrissian's the only black guy in the galaxy.
That's true. He's probably like, hey.
Now that would be pretty wild. You know what would be really cool? Bringing up the fact that Luke might have a kid. We don't know. Everyone's always talking about, Rey might be Han. And
yeah, exactly. Lightsaber.
Ray might be Han and Leia's kid. Ray might be Han and Leia's kid, right? Or going back and forth.
Well, see, it's
Luke
almost
could have a kid too.
Luke could have a kid. Like, it's always been the storylines though has been Han and Leia because they were a couple. So it's like the next natural progression that they have a kid. So that's why everybody kind of thinks. And there was that great storyline with the twins and everything like that. So there's always been this outside kind of acceptance that Han and Leia would kind of bear the children that would create the new Skywalker clan, and that's what and then Luke would be like the uncle who would train them. You know what I mean? Because obviously, like, Han's not a Jedi, so he's got his own thing to do, and he's going to teach his kids. Where Uncle Luke would be the one to take his niece and nephew and whoever and go off and teach them how to be Jedi. So I kind of think that they'll stick to that. Like, it's just there's so much there's so much information on that.
So much thought put into those stories.
Yeah, so I can't see that.
I understand maybe deviate from here and there, whoever. We don't know what to expect, but really, how we've learned that if there's a great story that works, just go from the story, right?
Well, yeah, like the story of the Sith, and now that's the whole thing is the Sith. There can only be two. Like, are they going to stay with that? Because they did mention that in the prequels, and what's going to happen from that? And now, if there's only two, that creates the other question of who is the, who's the Lord and who's the apprentice.
Yeah. And we haven't seen this Supreme Leader Snoke. We have no idea.
Yeah, we have no idea what
that's the character Andy Serkis is motion capture. We haven't seen anything of him at all. Right. So let's go around. So you already gave your Luke.
Likes to swirl.
Sorry, who is Skywalker Next Generation?
The kid. It's the who's the girl? The
Rey?
Yeah, Rey.
Right, and she's the daughter of who?
Of Han and Leia.
Yeah. Who do you think?
I'm hoping for the old school continuum, Jada and Anakin Solo, something along those lines.
Like, so brand new characters that we
haven't even seen.
Yeah,
yet. Which could happen because the one thing they did mention is in an interview with J.J. Abrams, I always said Kylo Ren. That's not his name, right? He's of the Knights of Ren, so that would give his tag name. Who knows if it's
and in that continuum, there's they end up finding like a couple of different planets that have beings that have high
they're force sensitive.
Force sensitive.
We say force sensitive. There's no midichlorian discussion.
I was going to say. I was going to adjust that. Let's say force sensitive. I like that. Force inclined. Force inclined. Yeah. So you never really know where they're going to go.
Well, and like the whole thing too is like you've got like everything about the prophecy in the original, not the prequels, the episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Wait, what? But it's still in canon though.
Yeah.
So because that's in canon, like who knows what they can do to? So like you don't know if someone's still going to be on the dark side, on the light side. You don't know where the kids are going to fall. Like that there's going to be Jedi and there's going to be Sith. Now, you've already had Darth Vader fall to the dark side. What if one of these kids is already on the dark side and they're trying to pull them back?
Yeah.
Like there's so much that could still happen.
Yeah. I'm thinking, I don't know who's who, but I'm thinking Rey, the girl scavenger, and Kylo Ren are. I don't think they're siblings. They might be cousins though, because one could be a child of Luke.
Like kissing that.
That's at least 1 degree better separation. But they may be cousins because one, Rey could be the daughter of Luke, and if he is some kind of hermit, maybe she's searching for him, around, finding whatever she can, and maybe Kylo Ren is the son of Han and Leia, right? Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know, man. They
could be cousins or siblings, or it could be like what you said, something we
just because there's so many fans in the world, right? And with the writers as well. They probably want to leave some goodie for us to be like.
Well, what is interesting though is we've seen Finn with the lightsaber.
Yeah.
So unless he just kind of finds it and just like, all right, fuck this, I'm taking it on my own.
Yeah.
There's that option, or he does actually get trained. Yeah. And can you actually wield a lightsaber without being force sensitive? I mean, I guess you could. But
it's a weapon like anything else. But like
Han used it to cut open the tauntaun. He didn't have to be force sensitive for that. It'll be really interesting to see. So, less than 2 months, we're almost there.
I know.
So some interesting Batman versus Superman stuff going on, guys. The viral marketing's really kicked up into gear. Fortune magazine released a fake article that they wrote on Lex Luthor. It was paid content.
Yep.
But a fake article on Lex Luthor as if he was a real life wealthy businessman worthy of an article in Fortune. So I pulled a couple quotes because it shows some real interesting insight as to kind of this new Lex Luthor character played by Jesse Eisenberg, what he's all about, a bit of his backstory, and some cool Easter eggs. See what you guys think of some of these quotes I pull out. So talking about his father, so I guess Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg's character, is a junior. So there was a senior, Alexander Luthor, apparently passed away unexpectedly in 2000. Quote, Lex Luthor, well, Dad was a complicated guy. Then the article goes on to say, Lex down-to-earth son notes as we pass a tasteful display of his famous collection of meteorite crystals. So that's leading right into. So he might have had fucking kryptonite. Well, he might not have gone out to find it like in the Donner movies. He might not have gone out to find it. He might have just
had it ready.
And then who knows? Maybe he's been doing testing on it.
This makes you weak. Oh shit!
I mean, it gave me cancer and I lost all my hair.
Makes you weak. Jackpot for
I'm just more spiteful now to use it though.
Then he says, "quote He came from a country." Lex, speaking of senior, he came from a country where the government, in the guise of a protector, had absolute control over the citizens. That drove him. I get it. Heck, I'd hate to see that sort of thing happen over here. So playing directly into what would kind of influence him to be so against someone like Superman, coming in the guise of a protector. Meanwhile, it's an oppressive.
And to be able to take that, you get that Justice Lord spin off of it, where they eventually, and there are like a bunch of future lines where the superpowered beings just become a bit more callous and turn and take control, right?
It's like we're helping you.
Yeah.
Well,
if that's the kind of stuff you're
for your safety.
Yeah. If that's the kind of stuff you're interested in, check out Justice League Gods and Monsters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They play with. I mean, it's alternate timeline because it's not the same heroes that you think. They are Justice League, but
I think I've seen some
real cool animated cartoon. Some other quick kind of notes for the character. So I guess LexCorp was originally like an oil and industrial machining company. But since Lex Jr.'s taken over, he's changed into the second largest emerging tech company. So pretty much like a Google, like a Facebook, a tech kind of startup. And it says it's the second largest emerging tech company in the world, only behind Wayne Enterprises. And the article quotes, partly, the success of this young company comes from Luthor's willingness to go where Wayne fears to tread. Wayne Enterprises has shied away from military contracts in the last decade.
No guns.
Yeah, so a bit of in the last decade, right? So obviously that's likely the length of time he's been Batman. You'd have to think. So that would mean if he's mid-40s now, that means, we speculate, did he start mid-30s?
Well, he would have started.
Who knows, right?
Yeah, roughly. You know what I mean? Like it's in and around there. If you're going by like the comic book, like it's late 20s, early 30s that he's
almost kind of flips.
Yeah.
So in commenting on that, Luthor says, "It's a necessity. We live in the most dangerous point of time in all of human history. Statistically speaking, it's a near certainty that another world-changing crisis is hurtling towards us like a speeding bullet." Mic drop. We have to be ready to defend ourselves. No civilization was ever conquered by having a strong military. Then the article goes on to say, as for the accusations
like the Romans.
of a few fringe outliers who accuse him of being a warmonger, Luthor just laughs them off. I don't know very many warmongers who have a foosball table in the conference room. And then it goes on to mention that he was, fictionally named to Fortune. He was the youngest guy ever named to be Fortune's Business Person of the Year, and they named him as the world's 50 greatest leaders. So that was something interesting, because the leader part kind of struck me. Because when Eisenberg was first cast, that was the thing that first kind of took me back. Because Lex Luthor, his public persona is supposed to be a guy that people would fucking vote for. Like you want him as a leader.
Yeah.
Whereas Eisenberg's always...
exactly,
right? So they have that sort of charm, that charisma. Whereas Eisenberg's always played like the kind of socially awkward
Weasley
kind of guy, yeah.
But that's in this day and age, is the socially awkward Weasley guy is the leader, right?
They connect the most.
Yeah, the meek have inherited the earth in this. You know what I mean?
And it's like, I guess it does fit.
It's perfect because I like if you look back to like Justice League Unlimited, where they're going through the whole Lex Luthor. They were setting up this storyline where, we know, like, Superman knows that Lex Luthor is up to no good, but everybody else, he's doing, like, he's building this city over here, and da-da-da.
He's extremely charitable,
exactly.
That's another funny thing they mention in the industry is that LexCorp is among, like, the top 3, I guess, worldwide conglomerates in terms of charity donations. The other ones they mentioned were Wayne Enterprises and Cord Industries. Easter egg, because Ted Kord, who's Blue Beetle, so that's established in the
Why does that make me laugh all the time?
Because you're thinking of like the Blue Beetle spacecraft.
And the goggles, the old goggles.
You've got to watch.
The guy who got pwned by Doomsday. Have you ever seen that in the Death of Superman? Like, stop!
Brave and the Bold. You're about to say Brave and the Bold.
No, I was going to say Young Justice.
Oh, man.
You got to check out, you guys too, the Young Justice cartoon. It's on Netflix. That will change your whole idea of Blue Beetle, the new incarnations.
And if you want to know, what I'm talking about, read the Death of Superman comics or get it online and just watch when Blue Beetle tries to stop Doomsday for the
or
first
even Batman Brave and the Bold, because I was heavy in the Blue Beetle.
What was the title?
Batman Brave and the Bold. Okay. It's the guy from Drew Carey's. You remember the Drew Carey show?
Yeah.
His friend.
Yeah.
He does the voice of Batman.
Interesting.
The viral stuff continues as well. New York Comic Con is on right now, kind of as we speak. LexCorp released a video and I guess sponsored Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi for the whole event, and released
it's a trap. It's a trap. It's taking all your information.
And released.
Why is their planet named after seafood? Calamari. Come on, Lucas.
He's a Mon Calamari.
Mon Calamari. That's my calamari in Italian. That's my seafood.
Hey man, I love calamari, so I will let that.
It's great grilled or fried.
I know, I'm okay with it.
And if you raise one up, going back to, you just reminded me of something. Back to Star Wars. I just learned that. You know how like the villains in the Empire, they always have the British accent?
Yeah.
Apparently that's a Coruscant accent.
Oh.
Yeah, someone said that on a podcast I was listening to. I never realized it.
Makes sense.
Somewhere, but Coruscant. Because Amidala has that weird way of speaking.
Yeah. And was Obi-Wan from Coruscant? Because was he and Qui-Gon Jinn from Coruscant?
I don't know.
Something to think of. Let us know in the comments if whatever you guys know.
I think it's
so at New York City Comic Con, LexCorp is sponsoring the free Wi-Fi. They also released a video launching a new operating system, Lex OS. Google search that too. Pretty cool. I liked it, and we all watched it together.
Yeah.
The only thing that it kind of reminded me of two things. If you're watching the latest season of Heroes, you know that they're introducing an operating system. That the new company, it's not like Primatech anymore, but Renatus.
Yeah.
They have a new operating system, and Terminator Genesis, that fucking shitbox of a movie. Genesis was an operating system too, so it's like is that?
Well, no, but it's
everyone's
like,
creating fucking Skynet on your phone. Like,
but even like it wasn't the Tron Legacy was not an operating system as well. Yeah. So it's been going on for a little while now. It's it's probably been for like the last 5 years that they've been, and then like that Her movie with. Scarlett Johansson and
Joaquin Phoenix.
But so that's the smartest way to do it. If you're an evil villain, I mean, everybody you see the new operating system on your iPhone,
and you've got everybody.
All right,
and you accept and you go. It is Skynet. Like it's actually like you think back of what they were trying to say what Skynet was in the original Terminator. That's what Skynet has become, is this OS system. So it's actually, I think it's an intelligent way to do it.
A couple more cool kind of notes on BVS. Comicbookmovie.com is at New York City Comic Con. They went by the Mattel booth. I guess there's some new toys on display. And they showed a picture of what's called Nightmare Batman. Now this is the desert-geared Batman with like the goggles and the trench coat that shows up in the trailer. And he's fucking snapping a neck of one of the Superman guards. Nightmare Batman, it's called. So does this mean, of course we're going to speculate. Does this mean that whole kind of sequence and scene is a dream sequence and actually doesn't happen? What do you think?
I think that could be because like going back to like Nolan's Batman where they had like the that demon Batman and stuff like that, which was like the hallucination, drug induced. I can definitely see how he's so fed up and he's like basically thinking of what he's gonna do to Superman or this whole Superman nation. Like it's an alternate, and I think it could definitely be a dream sequence because if you look at it, like it's all hazy. Like why is he going to be in the desert? Why, like where could that be?
Yeah,
like
the biggest strangest thing to me was that he fucking snaps.
Yeah, and he broke somebody's neck. Like that's so not
that.
Batman.
Yeah.
Like if you're going by Batman canon, like of what it existed, excluding Batman Returns,
bomb down the pants and down the sewer you go.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Turn around, boom. Next,
very non-Batman thing to do is it just doesn't seem like a Batman thing to do. Like you've got like it's against canon. And I know that they're trying to stick to canon, like that he doesn't use weapons, doesn't use guns. Like, I can't see that happening. Like with snapping his neck like that.
I don't know if it's going to be a dream sequence.
No.
Maybe Nightmare Batman is like he is a nightmare himself. Like you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like an episode of rage. Like there's like a breaking point that he hits with like the casualties and like his fear of the Superman regime taking the world. So he goes. He has to do something. Maybe it could be like a flashback. It could be some piece, some element. But I don't think it's going to be a dream sequence. I think it's going to be this a test of his kind of emotional resolve in a very dire circumstance.
Is it just as a side? Did you see it? Like, did you physically see the
photo?
The photo.
Yeah.
Is it spelled N-I or K?
K-N.
So K-N. Yeah. So now that becomes a play on Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So now that could be something completely different. Now, if it is a K, and I didn't know that before speaking about that. So now this becomes like, you've always had like the Dark Knight. So where Knight kind of connotes that whole, like, he's a protector, he's that. Now Nightmare flips that completely on his head where he's now the bad guy almost. Or like an alternate. Like, he's fully exploring his dark side and accepting his dark side.
That's what I would.
So if it's spelled like that, that could be a completely different.
Okay.
Take.
This is just speculation, but I just try and follow along with me because I don't know if this makes sense.
Strap in.
Okay.
I'm good.
So it's Batman, Superman. If we're going by the Superman movie, Man of Steel.
Yep.
Right. At some point, Clark goes to Zod's ship. Zod gives Clark to the scientist, and they go into his mind, and Zod goes into his mind, and they have this dream sequence. Mm-hmm. And there's
Superman's in black.
Yeah, and Zod is in his costume.
Yeah,
and he falls into the skull. Yeah. What if, that whole battle happens at the end of the Man of Steel, and Lex takes that technology. And he tries to, and because Bruce Wayne is like the second most powerful guy in the world, and he wants to try and get Bruce on board, which he pretty much already is because he doesn't believe in Superman, and they have that. They're both like-minded in that, trying to show him what the future can be. So he's probably in this machine, looking at what the future can be like of Superman taking over, and he has.
That might work because we have to assume that when Superman goes down into that pit and all the Superman soldiers are there, then that might be a part of this whole dark future.
Well, that actually makes a lot of sense because we're trying to explain like why would these soldiers be wearing a Superman thing, whereas if
bowing to him
bowing to him and stuff like that, if you're trying to create imagery of like this super dictator or something like that, of course a dictator would have an army with their symbol patched to them. Mm-hmm. So that could actually be. But wasn't that the Fortress of Solitude? And didn't the Fortress of Solitude disappear at the end of Man of Steel?
There's two ships though. So he flew. Okay. So there was one Genesis chamber.
Yes.
That was on the planet.
That's the one that Zod came in with his crew.
Yeah.
That was the Genesis chamber.
And then that's the one where Superman's like, Krypton had its chance, and goes, and then blows it up.
Yeah. And
That wasn't the one that he found in the ice?
But that one's gone too, though, because remember how it leaves.
Yeah,
as
they're
well.
both gone. One gets destroyed. The one that Superman destroys one, which was like the ice one, because Zod is the only one flying that.
Yes.
The other one gets sucked into the Phantom Zone when they start.
But that doesn't mean it's
they're
gone.
gonna get another
You
one.
can definitely get
Whenever
it back.
you say Phantom Zone, it's anything can happen.
because
we're gonna put these characters here until we need them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I really want to see.
It's really called. This is the plot convenience zone.
Yeah.
But no,
Cool
it's a
ideas,
very plot. That's actually a really good take. I like
cool.
that.
So Batman v Superman, just to wrap things up, it got its official rating, PG-13. And I guess for the films to get official ratings, that means it's like in the can. If they go and try to edit anything, then they have to resubmit it for the rating. So that means that this movie's it's still 6 months away, but it's fucking in the can. It's shot. It's like ready to go.
That scares me.
That scares me. Two questions I want to ask you guys from this, right? So PG-13, one, what do we think? And a note of what they said is that due in part to some sensuality. So does that mean that Diana and Bruce are knocking boots? Does that mean that Clark actually gets laid?
Yeah.
Takes things to the next level with Lois Lane?
Yeah.
I think,
What do you think?
I think this new Superman, he probably already did.
Yeah.
But
he's on Tinder.
you put Bruce Wayne in the picture.
Yeah.
Notorious playboy, might be going for Lois. There's plenty of cartoons and comic books that
love
is usually a problem.
That love square rectangle's gone so many different ways.
Yeah,
Superman
really
with
has,
Wonder Woman, Batman with Wonder Woman.
So
Yeah. What do you guys think?
It's definitely you've got like okay, let's just comment on PG-13 at first.
Sure.
PG-13, I think it's a good thing. It's not going to be rated R because there's no way. There's too many toys to be sold for it to be rated R.
Yeah.
Like they're half of them are available for pre-sale online right now, so you cannot have it rated R.
And I don't think you actually. This is one of those movies you don't necessarily need it.
No, you don't
Some
need
movies,
it.
If you actually want to do a job of, let's say, Wolverine Weapon X, you should have rated R.
Yes.
Right, but you could do this one justice though.
You definitely do it justice with PG-13. I'm glad it's PG-13, not just PG, because that does mean that they are trying to make it darker. Yeah. They're trying to make it a little more forceful. Due to sensuality, to now speculate on the love triangles or rectangle or whatever you want to call it, there's definitely, they allude to that in some of the trailers already. Like you've got some sensual looks between the Diana character and Bruce, and you've definitely, we know there's an existing relationship between Clark Kent and Lois Lane. So now, is there going to be intermingling of that? Quite possibly, because also you do have so many good comics, like Kingdom Come, where Superman and Diana and Wonder Woman are available. So yeah, there's definitely, they're going to play on that. So that's got to be where it comes from. Speculation on where it has. You already know that there's something going on. They've kind of, at this point in time anyways, at least paired them off. You got Lois and Clark, and you've got Diana and Bruce. So that's where it's paired off. Now, is there going to be intermingling? We'll see. I say that this movie at first, they're probably going to keep to them, but they'll heighten the relationships a little bit more, and then going forward, you'll start seeing some glances and some cross glances.
Yeah, my comments would just be redundancy. It would probably be along the same line. It's got to be something in that.
I don't think anybody's surprised that it's PG-13. I mean, you can't be surprised. I mean, to get an R would be a real shock. Yeah. And PG would be such a disappointment. So PG-13 kind of away.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice in the middle.
Yeah. All right, so sticking with Zack Snyder, this is something that I forgot to bring up earlier, so I'm going to drop this on you guys. HBO and Zack Snyder have been having talks about a possible Watchmen TV show on HBO. Right now, it's not, obviously it's just talks. It's not anything that is remotely official or nothing. It's just kind of out there. part of me, I mean, I think we all love Watchmen.
Yeah.
Right?
You're gonna say the same thing I am. I know what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
Part of me, like, I love that movie. I really want to watch more. But another part of me is like, but when they do that and play with it, it doesn't work because it's a great contained storyline.
That's Well,
so does this mean? So I mean, they could take it two ways. Is it a prequel? Because there's that before Watchmen comic series, right?
Yeah.
Do they pull from that for a prequel to play into the movie? Do they do like what? So that's option one. Option two is continue the story, which would be fucking lame, right? Because all the good characters are fucking dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's option C. Or B is do like what, like from the Dusk Till Dawn series and a lot of these other series, where you pretty much take that main story and stretch it out across like 12 episodes.
Milk it for all it's worth.
Which, I mean, we love the movie. It would be cool to see more. And that's almost like what it kind of should have been. Like, the movie was great, but it's such a deep comic book that it would have really played great into that long form. But when you've seen everything, all the great twists and turns are just kind of ruined, right?
So like the little milestones
and then
we're coming. Yeah.
Just because of the height of science fiction and the costume and the worlds that it kind of evidences and displays.
It's HBO. HBO will put the money into
it. I understand. It's just that...
So I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, I understand. It's just that there's... It takes place in a lot of different places. If you want to stretch it out, you're gonna go to that place on Mars with Manhattan. You're gonna be... You're gonna do all these different things, and then are you then gonna play with the storyline? So that's what I'm thinking. And you're always gonna think along the same lines as you. I'm like... My first instinct was like, oh man, that's interesting. And then I'm like... How are you going to do this? Are you really going to do this justice?
When you really start to think about logistics.
The logistics. And then you also think about how have you guys, like, just in general, have TV shows that are based on, like, movies. They're usually,
and then there's a lot out now, right? So, sorry to cut you off. There's a ton. I mean, there's Minority Report, which I have not seen.
Yeah.
From Dusk Till Dawn, which I haven't gotten into at all.
Terrible.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Sleepy Hollow. I don't really watch, but I guess it's
why would
Gotham?
Gotham's not based on a movie.
Yeah. Well, I know, but like, yeah.
It's what's in a continuum. What going to that? I really like the whole thing. Even the prequels I was against with Watchmen, because what Alan Moore did was he made kind of a parody of superheroes. Like, he created these superheroes within this contained fiction to parody other superheroes. You know what I mean? And it's almost like a look or a comment on superhero and superheroism, in that, if that we use that as a word here, because they've got all this, like, what would happen in real life if these kinds of people were here. So he didn't want to use existing superheroes. He didn't want to use Superman, so he created Dr. Manhattan. He didn't want to use Batman, so he created Night Owl. You know what I mean? Like, and they're all caricatures of other superheroes. So I think that they work very well because they're that, and they're within a contained storyline. Like, it's already been done very well in that movie. Not enough people. I think it was. A lot of people couldn't capture that, or they haven't read the Watchmen, which is a very dense, very good piece of fiction, but it's contained.
Yeah, that's what Dan was saying as well.
If you go outside of that, it completely, I think, ruins the whole thing. And if you extend it, go outside of it, I wouldn't touch it.
And I also think that, like, if you do a prequel, what are you going to look at? Like, some of the stuff that they have a great wealth of history that's presented.
Yeah.
But when, if you go, I mean, it's great as a nostalgic piece when they flash back to it, like they did in the film.
Well, like Minutemen?
The
Minutemen.
It's great when they flash back to it, like in the comic and in the movie. But do you really want a story about some guy like, this is the right hand that put down Captain Atlas?
It would almost. You might have just sold me. It would almost like. Did you guys get into Mad Men at all?
No.
It was really cool because as the story kind of flowed through, it would hit beats of historical events, and it would kind of follow it through from like the Kennedy assassination, all the way up through.
And I love
the
that.
moon landing.
I love that.
Yeah.
And with the Bob Dylan songs in the back, fantastic.
They could. From the beginning of the movie. What do you think of this?
So I think it has a lot of potential. I know you guys don't think like if they did something like after to continue the storyline, but if you really think about it, if so we know at the end that Rorschach
spoilers.
says oh okay. Well, they find out a whole bunch of
Rorschach.
No, go ahead. We just said spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Watchmen.
Okay. Yeah. So Rorschach mails his journal to this I guess
The paper.
this
the
new
paper.
company. Yeah. But if that happens, that's almost kind of like Nixon's Watergate scandal, because he didn't really have a Watergate scandal in the movie, so it'd probably be this big thing, and Nixon would probably be overthrown. It would be a new president, and it's like if we're going to modern day, there are probably way worse, troubles out there, right? So it'd be like Heroes, but an HBO Heroes.
But with which characters now?
You can make new characters.
I think that's the thing. I think that's what he's saying. It's like if you're doing the Watchmen line, the definitive Watchmen characters that grab the Watchmen, legacy, are all gone.
But that's true. But there's so like I trust HBO, and if the characters either died or went into hiding. Yeah. So it's like all these new characters, younger guys, like coming into their own, like going out in the streets, doing something that they're not supposed to, with the risk of being caught by the police, not just being murdered by.
And I think it could be something interesting, but it definitely wouldn't be Watchmen.
Potential's such a scary thing, man.
Yeah.
Whether it's with athletes or this, because if you tell me HBO and Zack Snyder on a comic book show, I'm like, fuck and yes.
Yeah. Yes.
But
you add Watchmen into that, and it changes. And like I get your point. Like there's that when he does drop off the journal, there's so much in that journal that could explode. But the thing is, it's almost. I like the fact that they leave it open-ended. Like, I do like open-ended stories. I like stories. It leaves your mind. There's nothing. That's why, like, Seven was such a great movie. They hardly showed anything. Like, they would just show up to the point and then let your imagination go wild.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
But that's the whole idea. They never show it. And look at, like, Seven's a perfect example of a contained piece that's never been touched. And it stands because it hasn't been touched. And I feel Watchmen's in the same vein. So I don't know, that's my thing is leave it alone.
In my head I feel like they're like, it'd be cool if we made an HBO Heroes. And it's like
bigger budget.
Yeah. And they're like, you know what? There was some Watchmen in there, people are gonna watch it regardless because they said Watchmen.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And I get it.
I'm torn between the two because anything that Zack Snyder's directed, I've really really liked, but then I didn't like the sequel to 300. Even though kind of all the pieces were there, I didn't like it. So even though he was involved, it's almost like even though he's involved, that's fine. But I really want him kind of directing, and he's not going to direct.
No, he's not going to direct television. He might do an episode or two, but that would be it.
Well, it's good for speculation. Who knows what?
Yeah,
but it's still all just. They said that they talked. I think an HBO person said that we have talked, but beyond that, it's all just
like. And I know that like Alan Moore's not involved with any of his characters and all that, but it's just like it's just so much of a slap in the face to him. You know what I mean? Like I've always been a traditionalist, and I've always been someone who you respect the original author and the original creator, and like even with like the new Star Wars and stuff like that, like Lucas went crazy and all the add-ins and stuff like that, but they're still sticking with his original story arc.
They brought Lawrence Kasdan in.
You know what I mean? And they brought Lawrence Kasdan in. So they kept with that whole overall arc. So if you start messing with the overall arc like they're thinking of doing with Watchmen, I think it's kind of a slap in the face to Alan Moore, personally.
All right, so some Terminator sequel news. Rumor hit that the Terminator sequels were kind of on hold indefinitely, but the media chief creative officer of Skydance, producer Dana Goldberg, she was talking at, I guess the Wrap holds some sort of media leadership conference they were going on. She's speaking at that. She said, they're not on hold, we're just readjusting. Look, we haven't had a chance to talk about this movie when it came out, but I fucking absolutely detest this movie. Everything about it, about Terminator Genesis, I hated. And I almost, even from the first kind of trailers that came out, what was the very first, well, I think it might have been the very first trailer where Schwarzenegger like torpedoes out of the helicopter. I'll be back.
Yeah.
As soon as that popped up, I'm like, fuck this movie. Right? Just from the trailer. Because that right there was like a Terminator 3
Flip the table.
moment. Yeah. Honestly, fuck this movie.
Yeah.
Right? And then the second trailer spoiled the whole big twist. And it's even in the poster. Like, this is poster art that they released of John Connor, like one of the, in my eyes, maybe the second greatest kind of fictional leader behind like Optimus Prime. Right? That's a huge twist. You give it away in a trailer. Both of those were just terrible. And then we wanted to see the movie because you got to give it a chance, right? I'm not
exactly.
And fuck the Jai Courtney. Everyone likes to hate on Jai Courtney, and I thought he's been all right in what he's done. Like Spartacus, he was decent. I didn't even mind him in the latest Die Hard. Right? No, a lot of people like the most recent. I mean, it's not a Die Hard movie; it's an action movie. He was okay. That he's probably a sign of one of the worst castings ever, and he doesn't do a bad job. He's just so unfit for Kyle Reese. Right? He's making serious gains in the apocalypse because he's fucking buff. He's like pretty clean shaven. He's all swollen. Like, dude, where are you? Like,
where are you getting your whey protein?
He's hitting all of his fucking macros in the apocalypse. Like, whereas Michael Bain cycle. Yeah, exactly. Whereas Michael Bain's character, the way he portrayed Kyle Reese was perfect, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder, right? Really, right, but still like kind of athletic and wiry. But he's eating fucking rats, right? So he's going to be kind of lean, worn down, right? And he just played like that angst on his face throughout all of Terminator, where he's literally he's a child of the apocalypse. He's the only one with that weight on his shoulders, and it fucking crushes him because he's gone through hell on earth, right? Where in Jai Courtney's face in this is a lifetime of friends dying, being ripped apart, fucking starving. Right? And again, it's not Jai Courtney's fault. He just shouldn't have been put in that. And then, CGI fucking crap fest,
but that's been for quite some time. And even the Terminator 3 with the Terminator with the bun. And
when did this become like goofy comedy of laughing at the Terminator? Right? Like Terminator 2, there was some jokes. But it was like he shoots his knees and like he'll live. It's like a fucking
time out. You see this like pain you have for Terminator. This is exactly how we feel
for X-Men
about Prometheus. About Prometheus. You see how you dissected this?
I see.
This is exactly okay.
But to a worse degree.
I can
fast forward now.
I think every podcast we hit it once, just once. One on the button.
Word body. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
So I mean. But that's where I can sympathize. Like, I know we've talked about your guys' disappointment with X-Men. I think everybody, if you're a true movie fan and a movie geek, you have those characters, those stories that you really wanted to see. This, for me, is up there. Of a lore that I really love. That I can remember being like in high school and like football practice and shit, and us talking about, what's the war going to look like? What's that moment going to look like when they take down Skynet and he sends someone back? How was that? And literally, they take down Skynet in the first couple minutes, and Kyle Reese and fucking spoilers for this piece of shit, Terminator Genesis. But it happens in the first 10 minutes, and Kyle Reese and John Connor don't even go into the building. They're outside blowing some shit up, like, we saved the world. And then Kyle Reese gets a fucking protein bar, and it's all fucking jacked.
Don't worry, guys. You'll see this on Netflix in about 2 months.
Oh man!
So we talk about adjustments. That's a lot of adjustments.
So for me, personally, put this on hold. It's really kind of sour.
I say like take it out of canon is what I would do first of all. Like it's just. Like you said, there's just so much that they've ruined with this movie. Like, John Connor was... Like, the whole thing is... All the movies before this was John Connor growing up to become this amazing leader. And they ruin it all with, like you said, within the first 10 minutes. Like you see some of the original Terminator, and you're like, they go back to the scene from Terminator 1 where he comes in naked and he's
and they undo everything.
And they undo everything.
Undone.
So now because of this movie, Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 are gone. They're off. They're out of the slate. They've never happened because of this fucking movie.
Yeah.
I'm ready to fucking losing breath.
Is one side of your face feeling a little numb?
I am ready to fucking ankle lock whoever's Dana chicken. Fucking.
You know, it's that one moment when that happens. It's like that moment, like we discussed in another podcast, when Neo just first uses telekinesis outside in the real world, outside the Matrix. You're just like, wait a minute.
That was kind of weird.
Now you just ruined everything. Yeah. Like you just ruined the whole.
The only way they explained that. Well, that was kind of cool when it happened, and then I was like, "Fuck, how are they going to explain this?"
That's right.
Is it a Matrix within a Matrix?
You can't.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be Matrix in a Matrix, and then Matrix Revolutions comes around,
like Inception,
and it was the Oracle said you touched the source, and it overwhelmed you. What?
Here we go.
Yeah. Explains everything. No, it wasn't
Goodbye.
the architect.
No. I'm just saying that's when we get to it afterwards.
What do you think of these movies? Being on hold or readjusting.
My face hurts.
I'll readjust this whole movie for you, and you don't even have to pay me. Get rid of Arnold. He's too damn old. Okay? I love Arnold, but as a Terminator is all about two badass robots in a city. One has a little more advanced technology than the other, and how they deal with it. Yeah. And in between that, you got John, you got Sarah, you got all these people helping along the way. Just make it like that. Just don't. You don't have to go into time paradoxes and whatever. Just get some new actors, reboot the series, get rid of Arnold. Thank you, Arnold. You did your job. You've carried it this far. It's time for somebody else to take the reins. You know what I mean?
And I agree with you on that. I mean, I think it would be still cool to have Arnold. I like the fact. What I really enjoyed about this one aspect was that the flesh, the flesh ages.
That was a great play. So then it explains why he looks different after.
Yeah,
that was genius.
I like that,
cool.
and I liked how he was starting to malfunction a little bit, and, old, not obsolete. You know what I mean? It was just like it was interesting. I like that play. So I would keep Arnold in there, but you're right. Have new players in the game.
You can have a different model of Terminator. So a different popular act.
I'm tired of all the liquid ones.
Yeah, but you don't even have to do liquid ones.
They're doing weird stuff with this, and even at the end when he it's almost like from Transformers: Age of Extinction, where's the Transformium?
Yes,
exactly. It was a scientific. It's like I'm all for real science.
Almost.
I'm all for real science and everything in movies and ground them. I like that, but not when it becomes magic.
Yes,
like
exactly.
that Transformium was magic.
Yeah,
just like now in Terminator Genesis, that new structure, or like the liquid Terminator was just pretty much magic. Like he just falls in it, and all of a sudden he has the T-1000 abilities.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off. It's just all of a sudden magic.
I know, it's like Merlin's in the background.
But even if you look at Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, they started introducing sleeper cell Terminators. You know what I mean? You can have different models of Terminators. You can have a Tony Jaa Terminator.
Yes. I thought that was actually a very good series.
Exactly. Who specifically deals with martial arts. You could have a Rock. You could have, and each movie you could have a different Terminator. It's not hard.
I agree with you.
Guys, listen. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong. But I think that would be way more interesting than what the hell they were trying to pull off here.
It was just so.
It's almost Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Well, yeah, they did. Yeah, exactly. They just did. It was so redundant. Like with they brought back. They basically took the same characters, put it in a Ziploc bag, and shaked it.
And did it lazy. Like one of the laziest parts that really fucking frustrated me, even going into this. I was like, okay, maybe they're giving us the big twist of John Connor being a Terminator for a reason. Maybe that happens pretty early, and then the rest is like unknown, right? That was I was trying to stay positive going into it because you shouldn't judge a movie until you see it. Right?
Yeah.
Like we like to talk shit about pictures and trailers and what we see and it's just for fun. Ultimately, we're gonna give the movie a chance.
Yeah.
If it's something that we really like. And I gave this one a chance, but when the fucking twist happens, and then Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor pretty much like speaking like what we're saying, you can't kill us, we're your fucking parents, you'll never be alive to become this Terminator and see this around, right? Yeah, that's the grandfather paradox, right?
As
almost
old
like
as time.
It's probably like what a writer, probably like an 18-year-old writer was like in the room with this dude saying, that really wouldn't work, you need to do that. And the reason that Terminator John Connor gives is, you don't understand, I've gone beyond what you think and know of time and space. And what I've learned is, it doesn't matter. Or some shit like that. That's great. Right? And then it just becomes a chase. It literally just becomes a fucking chase. Like, lazy. Just absolutely lazy and fucking stupid. The movie did $440 million worldwide, which it isn't bad. I don't know what the production budget was, but I think they spent they must have done like $100 million plus on marketing. It was everywhere. Yeah. But only it was a $150 million budget, and then you add on like another $100 million maybe for marketing, that brings you to $255, but only $90 million domestically. So
it was never number one domestically.
No,
it was never like
panned. Critically panned, fan panned. Yeah. Just so lazy, so many twists, and it's just a real shame. Did you? Me and you, I know we liked Terminator Salvation.
Yes.
That gets hit a lot.
Yeah, everybody.
I like 90% of that movie.
Yeah.
And I love Christian Bale's John Connor. Did you guys like Terminator Salvation?
I did, but you know what screwed the movie up? Christian Bale's tape. I think that's what, and people are like, you know what? I don't know.
Tape.
When he yells at the AD. He yells at the AD.
Good for you.
Yeah. Fucking amateur.
Yeah.
Fucking amateur.
Like, you're a nice guy. Yeah. You're a nice guy. But we're fucking done professionally.
That was such a weird.
You know what people said? They're like, listen, this guy's killing it with Batman. Now he's gonna have this franchise. No.
I just, you know what? I think it was like, I think the timing was off. Definitely, like here, you can't have an actor play two pivotal roles like that. Yeah. Like, they are iconic fucking roles. Yeah. So by having the same actor, I really think that kind of did dissuade the audience from going to see one or the other. So you've got, here's Batman. Like, and he did.
And he's killing it.
He killed Batman. Yeah. You're absolutely right. And now you're going to have him as the other.
Batman voice.
What's that? Yeah, but at least there was there was a rationale behind it. But like.
Did you like Salvation?
I would say I did. I wouldn't say 90% of it. I would say about 80. But I did like it. I thought it was pretty cool. It was more grounded in a way.
The only thing that really stands out to me that I really didn't like, two things. One, there's that big giant robot Terminator thing that I thought looked goofy as all fuck. And then I really didn't like the ending. Like, it was the woman's face, and she's like Skynet. And then he's there and he just throws a chair in there. I didn't like that. But everything else was great, and I loved his John Connor. I thought it was so great, especially the part when, or how he's constantly trying to get on terrestrial radio or just like get the radio signal out there. It's like, if you're listening to this, you are the Resistance.
It was the I Am Legend.
It was more John Connor. It was you really felt that apocalyptic desperation.
And it made sense as to how he would become this legendary kind of character. Because and of course he wasn't the top ranked, right? Because there'd still be pockets of military together. They're like, hey, there's this dude who keeps telling us exactly what's going to happen. He's right about everything. They're going to have this, they're going to have this. They're like, hey, you were right. And they're playing in that. And then after, once they all kind of... And since he's spreading out the message of hope, training other people via radio, whoever's listening...
He would eventually take over, exactly.
And people would trust him because they know him.
You get notoriety, popularity, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought it was very smart. You know what's funny is that going back to how Terminator Genesis ruined it in the trailer, the twist, they've done that in almost every other fucking trailer.
Yeah, we look back.
Well, we went back and checked it out. You watch the Terminator 2 trailer.
Yeah.
They ruin the idea
that he's a good guy.
That Schwarzenegger's is he a T-101?
Yeah, T-800.
T-800 doesn't have the skin.
Yes.
T-800's just like this.
Yeah.
Right. T-101.
skeleton.
T-101 is the Arnold model.
Yeah.
Right? they give it to you that the T-101 Arnold is a good guy sent there from the future, and that the T-1000 is the bad guy.
Yeah.
They give that to you in the trailer.
Yeah.
Terminator 3, I don't think there really was much to give away. I can't remember, but Terminator Salvation, they gave away in the trailer of Sam Worthington's character unknowingly was a Terminator.
Yes.
Right? Like, they fucking gave that away.
Yeah.
Like, every fucking twist.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Fuck off, honestly. So, I'd love to see this franchise kind of get back on its feet, but I might just be tapped out, man. Like, I don't know if we can do it again.
Well, yeah.
Stay on hold indefinitely.
Stay on hold, until Cameron gets the rights back. And
Fucking amateur!
It was fucking
Amateur!
You're a nice guy. You're a nice guy. But we're done professionally.
Done with Terminator.
Done professionally.
We're done.
Alright, folks, we're out of time. Thanks again for joining us on the Hero Lair. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe. We're on a mission for 1,000 subscribers. Help us out. Click that subscribe button. Leave us a comment. We'd love to answer any questions you have. 2 other places to do that. Either hit us up on Twitter, use hashtag HeroLair, or email us, theherolair@gmail.com. My name is Dan. Follow me on Twitter @DanPhilippeDF. He's Mario. Mario, where can the people reach you?
Mario Hammerall, HAMMERAL, Twitter.
Big Josh.
Joshua Martyr at Twitter, and for authorship, joshuamartyr.com.
Big Sims.
Big_Sims at Twitter. That's about it.
Alright, guys. We'll see you soon.
Subscribe. Do or do not. There is no try.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?